sold 3,008, you sold 2,000 and late.
The Black Eyed Peas is a really fascinating music group. I mean, they've literally been around since the late 80s and continue to release new music. So today, we'll be diving into the history of one of the longest lasting musical groups. We begin this long story of one Alan Pineda Lindo Jr., who was born on November 28, 1974. He lived with his single mother and 6 younger siblings in Angeles City in the Philippines. He never knew his father, who was an African-American man that left the family shortly after Alan's birth. His childhood wasn't the easiest, having to take an hour-long jeepney trip to and from school, and help on his family's struggling farm. Alan also struggled with an eye condition called nystagmus, which is the involuntary movement of the eyes. Because of that, and the fact that he is technically American due to his father, his struggling situation caught the attention of the Pearl S. Buck Foundation. They wanted to ensure a healthier and happier life for him, so they matched him with a sponsor who can help. That would end up being a lawyer named Joe Ben Hudgens, who brought him over to America at the age of 11. There he would receive treatment for his condition and get to go to Disneyland. Alan would end up staying in America due to Joe Ben Hudgens legally adopting him at age 14. He would still suffer with nystagmus for many decades, becoming considered legally blind in both eyes. But in 2012, he finally received surgery to correct his vision.
Dr. Brian Boxer-Wackler of Beverly Hills says the implantation of an artificial lens into each of Applediap's eyes will address both his nearsightedness and the nystagmus that has plagued him.
Next, we introduce another man important to the story, one William James Adam Jr., who was born on March 15, 1975. He grew up in East LA with a single mother who would encourage his love of music. He began attending John Marshall High School in 1988, where he would meet Alan Pineda Lindo. William was actually the nephew of Hudgens' roommate, weirdly enough. The two quickly became friends, going to various parties and raves at Club What. The two would eventually join a dance and rap crew called Tribal Nation, where they adopted stage names. Alan's would become Applediap, and Williams would be Will 1X. Some friends of theirs would join the Tribal Nation as well, that being Mookie Mook, DJ Motivate, and Dante Santiago. They would soon perform at various other clubs, specifically one called Ballistics. This is where they caught the attention of Eazy-E, who signed the group to Ruthless Records. With this acquisition, the group would change their name to At Band Clan, which is an abbreviation of A Tribe Beyond a Nation. With Will and X and Applediap out of high school, they started to put more of their time and focus onto the At Band Clan. In fact, they were working on the group's first ever album titled Grassroots. Much effort was put into it, as supported by the one and only Jerry Heller, the controversial manager of Eazy-E and many other famous artists, like Van Morrison and Marvin Gaye. Jerry described it as being fantastic and was excited for its release, but that would never come. Despite the praise given and the target release of late 1993, Grassroots would never come out. However, they did release a promo song the following year called Let Me Get Down. It was produced by Will and X and DJ Motivate, who were billed as the Black Eyed Peas. This is the first time that name was used.
If you try to follow, I alligates. Take your ass back to your own state, black. A process to the earth. App is on arrival.
Mookie Mook would get arrested for 6 weeks under assault charges, which deeply affected him. He would leave the group in 1995 following an argument. That would be the beginning of At Band Clan's downfall. In late February 1995, Eazy-E had a conversation with Will over MTV's interest in Puddles of H2O for the group. If this was to happen, it would be big for At Band Clan. In that same conversation, Eazy-E also discussed his worsening health condition. He reveals his hospitalization with bronchitis, and only a month later on March 26, he would die of AIDS. Following this, Ruthless Records would drop the group, while still retaining the rights to their name. Damn, that really is ruthless. This motivated Dante Santiago to leave the group, leaving only Will, Applediap, and DJ Motivate. They renamed themselves the Black Eyed Pods and brought on board a new member. Born on July 14, 1975, Jamie Louise Gomez grew up in Los Angeles, California. Both his parents came from Mexico, but his grandmother had Native American heritage. He graduated from Rosemead High School in 1993 and attended the Richard Garvey Intermediate School. He was brought on board the Black Eyed Pods in 1995 to replace Dante. Will would change his stage name to Will I Am, which would remain that way permanently. Many other musicians were brought into the group, including bassist Mike Fratantuno, keyboardist Carlos Galvin, drummer Terry Graves, guitarist JC, and soul singer Cam Hill. They began working on music together while also contributing to other projects like the Peapod Foundation, which sought to give back to the city of LA via toy drives. In 1996, the group began recording a demo tape made up of old school style tracks. These were fine and all, but what really caught people's attention was their song, Joints and Jams.
That's the joint, that's the jam, turn that shit up, play it again.
This song grew really popular within LA, landing them a club showcase at the Dragonfly Club. In the audience was co-founder of Interscope Records, Jimmy Iovine, who attended due to hearing a copy of their demo. He loved them, agreeing to sign the Black Eyed Peas with Interscope Records. For $500,000, the record label agreed to have a 3-album deal and supported will.i.am's label, I Am Music. They would begin working on music straight away, releasing 2 singles by 1998, that being Fallen Up and Cadices. Those 2 singles were only the beginning, as a full album released on June 30, 1998, titled Behind the Front, it gained lots of acclaim from critics and listeners alike. It features 16 tracks, one of which being a re-released version of Joints and Jams, now featuring Jamie, who of course goes by Taboo. Other songs featured include Head Bops, Karma, What It Is, and The Way You Make Me Feel.
You got me feeling like I'm supposed to feel. You got me feeling like I'm supposed to feel.
The song Love Won't Wait featured none other than Macy Gray, this being her recording debut. Behind the Front had massive appeal and peaked at number 129 on the Billboard Top 200 chart, and it peaked at number 37 on the Billboard R&B chart. And it sold 300,000 copies. This success would lead to the group to going on their first tour that summer. And not just any tour, but the Smokin' Grooves tour. This was big for the Black Eyed Peas, especially since they would be joining other big names on it, including MOP and Public Enemy. The tour lasted 8 weeks, where they performed a 20-minute opening set for 20 different shows. Not too long after this, the group would fly to London, where they would join other tours, including the Vans Warped Tour. 2 new members of the band were added, being keyboard player Prince Board and guitarist George Pajon Jr. In the fall of 1999, the Black Eyed Peas began working on their second album. At this point, they were able to work with many big names, like those of A Tribe Called Quest, Beck, and De La Soul. Going into the 21st century, a small problem emerged not just for the Black Eyed Peas, but the music industry as a whole. Music piracy. Many digital softwares emerged, and it was becoming much easier for people to illegally download songs. Nowadays it's not the biggest deal, but back in the early 2000s this issue was massive, and for the Black Eyed Peas it caused their next album to be leaked. Yep, the whole thing, put online. To combat this, the group made an official website, which is still up to this day. That leaked album, Bridging the Gap, would be officially released on September 26, 2000, to the same critical acclaim, and it sold 250,000 copies. It includes 14 songs such as Tell Your Mama Come, Weekends, BEP Empire, and Get Original.
Study business down to the spiritual. I am the chosen one, brought the sun, shining light to everyone. We are here.
This song, request line, would be the return of Macy Gray, which definitely helped the song be the first Peas song to reach the Hot 100 at number 63. This would be the last album Kim Hill was involved in, as she left the band right before it was released. At the time, it was unknown why. But a decade later, Kim cited that the studio wanted to sexualize her, which she did not like. A management shakeup at Interscope Records would motivate will.i.am and crew to push forward another album. But during this, the group realized the need for a new female singer. One of those considered was later Pussycat Dolls singer Nicole Scherzinger, who declined due to her contract. will.i.am would release her solo debut Lost Change on October 2, 2001. Following the events of 9/11, the group's work on their third album would change, asking, "Where's the love?" This would of course be developed further the following year. Next we must introduce the last important character in our story, one Stacey Ferguson, born on March 27, 1975. She grew up in Hacienda Heights, California with her two parents and sister Dana. She was actually really accomplished as a child, being a cheerleader, joining the Girl Scouts, and getting straight A's at school. She would also begin doing voiceover work, starting with playing Sally in various made-for-TV Peanut specials.
How can he support a wife? He sleeps all the time.
At the age of 9, she began starring in the series Kids Incorporated. This continued for 6 seasons until departing in 1989. Stacey is actually the longest-lasting cast member on the show. Through Kids Incorporated, she met Renee Sandstrom, and unrelatedly met Stephanie Riddell. The three would form a musical trio known as Wild Orchid. They signed with RCA Records in 1994, beginning to release albums that really didn't do too well. But around this time, Stacey began a sex and drug spree that lasted for a long time. In 1998, Wild Orchid would play a concert with the Black Eyed Peas, meeting its members. After a few more years with the group, Stacey left Wild Orchid due to their image and personal problems. Fergie, as she was known, would sober up following this and met up with Dante Santiago. He brought her into the Black Eyed Peas studio. They were in desperate need of a female singer and asked Fergie to try out for their song Shut Up.
But we're still losing control, and we try to make it work, but it still ends up the worst.
The trio really clicked with her and asked if she would like to permanently join them. She of course said yes, agreeing to be on feature songs and even go on tour with them. On June 24, 2003, the group's third album was released. Titled Elephunk, it gained massive praise, especially for the genius use of Fergie in many of the tracks. For instance, she was included in the redone version of Where's the Love.
It just ain't the same, always will change.
And it became a smash hit, even peaking at number 8 on the US Hot 100. But overseas, this baby did phenomenal. It even peaked at number 1 in the United Kingdom for several weeks. Other songs included on Elephunk were Hey Mama, the Apple song,
From nothing to something, that's how we been surviving back in my homeland.
and Let's Get Retarded. Many people thought Let's Get Retarded was a parody of Let's Get It Started, but that wasn't released as a single until 2004. They changed it for promotion in the 2004 NBA playoffs to sound more family friendly.
Get it started, get it started, let's get it started, let's get it started in here.
It was more well received and even won them a Grammy in 2005 for Best Rap Performance by a duo or group. But honestly, the original is super funny in retrospect. With Elephunk peaking at number 14 on Billboard charts, the Black Eyed Peas would tour with many famous acts such as Justin Timberlake and Christina Aguilera. A few months after the release of Elephunk, will.i.am would release his second solo album titled Must Be 21. During 2004, the Black Eyed Peas began pre-production on their fourth studio album. Monkey Business was released on June 7, 2005, a few months after its first single came out. That would be Don't Funk With My Heart, which peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100.
No, don't funk with my heart. I wonder
At the time, it was their most successful song, though other songs on Monkey Business were heavy hitters as well, specifically Pump It, which is one of my personal favorite songs from the group, mainly due to its surfer 60s inspired style. And this was their album to include the most lyrically gifted song of all time, My Humps. This was where the Peas and Fergie rap about her humps, her lovely lady lumps. Check it out. Despite the negative reception, it won a Grammy the following year for Best Performance by a duo or group of vocals.
We can keep on dating, I keep on demonstrating my love, my love, my love, my love.
Oh, and Don't Funk With My Heart won a Grammy for Best Rap Performance from a duo or group. This would be their second year in a row winning that award. The album itself gained mixed reception from critics, with a multitude of average reviews coming out. It was a fine album according to them, but nothing special compared to the Peas' earlier efforts. But it was still a hit, selling hundreds and thousands of copies and being certified triple platinum.
No, baby, no, don't lie.
Other songs featured include Dumb Diddly, Like That,
Black Eyed Peas, so watch it, be mindful of the speakers, please, cause they gon' rumble and shake the ground, break atoms, break and sound, thunder and bass for pound.
My Style,
I know that you like my style. You can't get to turn me out. Everybody in the place get wild.
and They Don't Want Music.
Come on, hit it. They don't want music. They don't know how to use it.
Many of those I just listed have some really impressive guest talents, such as the latter featuring the legend himself, James Brown. This would actually be one of the last music projects he would be a part of until his death a year later in 2006. Monkey Business also had Justin Timberlake, CeeLo Green, John Legend, Timbaland, Sting, and the brief return of former member Dante Santiago. In 2005, the Black Eyed Peas released an iTunes original playlist of all of their greatest hits at the time. What made it interesting is that interlocked in were bits of commentary from members of the group, relating to the songs themselves and bits about how they all met. Around the same time, the Peas once again went on tour, this time around the world. They initially started it in Europe, going to parts of Asia, continuing to the United States, and concluding in South America. Gwen Stefani of all performers joined them as a supporting act. Oh, and on November 27th, the Black Eyed Peas performed at the halftime show on the Grey Cup. If you don't know what that is, it's the Canadian Super Bowl pretty much. Also, let me quickly mention the existence of these online Snickers commercials they did. These are wild.
Yo, what it do, fam? Why'd you rockin' my beats? For my boombox is the authentic hip-hop. The stuff you spin, I'm sorry to say, homie, is coming up short. Word. I'll show you short.
On March 21st, 2006, a new album was released. Well, this one is a bit different, as it was a remix album specific to iTunes. Titled Renegotiations the Remixes, it eventually would be released on CD. Following that, the group went on another tour, the 6th annual Honda Civic Tour. This too was big for them, as they brought along the Pussycat Dolls and Flipside. Something different about this tour was that they were promoting a solo album from a group member, and that would be the debut solo album of Fergie. That album, titled The Duchess, was released on September 13th, 2006. It was a huge success, though was given mixed reviews by critics. That mainly stemmed from its first single, titled London Bridge. Many saw it as overtly sexually suggestive, while others didn't really give a shit about that.
Come every time you come around my London Bridge, wanna go down like London.
will.i.am was a huge part of making it, as his label produced it and he helped write the songs. Most notably, he was featured in 2 of them, mainly Fergalicious. I mean, with 2 Black Eyed Peas members in it, it's sort of a pseudo-song of the group. The song pretty much hypes Fergie as this high-caliber specimen that all men want, so almost exactly like My Humps, but much better.
Fergalicious definition make them boys go loco. They want my treasures so they get their pleasures from my boats.
A few other songs on The Duchess are Clumsy, Velvet, Glamorous,
I won't change by the glamorous. Ooh, flouncy, the glamorous.
and of course, Big Girls Don't Cry. I'm not afraid to admit that this song is a bop. I mean, genuinely, it's a really great track that shows Fergie's range and emotional antithesis. During 2007, the Black Eyed Peas would go on another tour, this time the Black and Blue and You World Tour. On July 7, 2007, they would also perform at the Wembley Stadium for the UK leg of Live Earth show. During this, will.i.am would sing a new song he titled Help Us Out. This is a teaser of sorts for his next album, Songs About Girls, which was released on September 19, 2007. The song was renamed to SOS Mother Nature.
Lord, come down and help us out. Send us an angel, help us out. SOS.
After 2007, the Black Eyed Peas would go through a short hiatus of making music together, but in the meantime, will.i.am stayed productive as he was emerging more into Hollywood. Now buckle the fuck up because this shit gets interesting. First of all, Will appeared in the 2009 Marvel film X-Men Origins Wolverine as a teleporting mutant cowboy named John Rath. Never seen the full movie, but from the scenes I've witnessed, it's...
Feelings mutual. Use them gloves, man. Dance with him a little bit. Allow him to let his anger out on you. Figure if you do that, he'll probably tell you everything you want to know.
Here he comes.
I like 'em big. I like 'em chunky. I like 'em big. I like 'em big.
Remember that Moto Moto meme from a few years ago? Well, that character from Madagascar 2, voiced by none other than will.i.am, who put on his rough, tough guy voice as usual. And apparently that female hippo who goes, "Look out, I think Moto Moto likes you," is voiced by Fergie. Come on, you can have Taboo voice a mandrill and Apple Diap voice a tortoise, man, come on. Will also contributed to the soundtrack, like with the infamous song Big and Chunky, and the newer rendition of I Like to Move It, Move It.
I like them moving, moving. I like them moving, moving. I like them moving.
Something I didn't know until writing the script was that he also sings in the Samurai Jack theme song. The last role I'll mention from him is as Pedro from the 2 Rio movies. He also sings one of the songs from it. Around this time, Taboo got arrested for driving under the influence, which motivated him to get sober. In 2008, he was in the process of making his own solo album, but this never worked out. Despite confirming a few songs from it and composing them, nothing from it came to fruition. Taboo would end up playing Vega in the 2009 film Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. This movie didn't do too well, sorry dog.
I'll cut you. You think this is over?
No, I'm just getting started.
But hey, he got married, with Will and Apple Diap as his groomsmen. Fergie herself would get married in January 2009. The Black Eyed Peas were also working on a new album, once parting ways with E.N.D Records. They would then release a new single titled Boom Boom Pow. Now this song is very different from earlier music. Instead of being a classic hip-hop style track, it was more modern with techno beats and a pop sound.
I'm sold 3008, you sold 2000 and late. I got that boom, 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 that future boom, boom, boom.
But it did switch things up and introduce a new audience to the band. For instance, this is around the first time I heard them, and other songs were soon to follow, all culminating in a new album that would stick around for a long time. On June 3, 2009, the E.N.D was released. Short for The Energy Never Dies, this was a game changer, so much so that it topped the records and the charts. For instance, the song I Got a Feeling topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 14 weeks, with the number 2 spot being Boom Boom Pow. This is one of the only times it's ever happened where the top 2 songs on the chart from the same artist. And for 26 weeks, aka half a year, the group would top the charts. I Got a Feeling pretty much became the most famous song of the Black Eyed Peas, not only due to its sales, but just because of how memorable it is.
Here we come, here we go. We gotta rock, 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 rock. Easy come, easy go. Now we on top.
will.i.am actually cited the inspiration for the album being the Australian group The Presence, mainly their song My People. Other songs on the E.N.D include I'm a Bee, Rock That Body,
I wanna dance in the lights. I wanna rock your body.
Meet Me Halfway,
Every single day, guess I'm really missing you. And all those things we used to do.
and Missing You.
Cause I'm missing you. I'm missing your love.
But one of the songs caused controversy, namely Party All the Time.
Could party all night and sleep all day and throw all of my problems away.
DJ Adam Freeland accused the group, mainly will.i.am, of plagiarizing his song Man Cry. Freeland and his manager planned to sue the Peas. This was settled out of court. Will would go on to say, this is not a case of plagiarism, in that the band's manager had offered them a beat and it was a case of working together. It was a lack of finalizing legalities before releasing the record, clearance was not done, and that was what it was about. While they were still topping the charts, the Peas would go on the E.N.D. World Tour, and appeared as an opening act for U2 during their United States tour. On January 31st, 2010, they would perform at that year's Grammys. The group was nominated for several awards, 2 of which they won. One for Best Short Form Video with Boom Boom Pow, and another for Best Pop Vocal Performance by a Group for I Got a Feeling. On July 27th, a new collection was released only in Canada for that leg of the tour, known as the E.N.D. Summer 2010 Canadian Invasion Tour Remix Collection. It was really just a re-release of songs from the previous album with bits of changes. Nothing special really. Also, I must mention that this is when Will got that really dumb haircut, the one he would have for years to come. On November 26, 2010, The Beginning was released. This album was pretty close behind the E.N.D., not only in release but in style as well, but it wasn't as big of a hit. Still, the first single on it, The Time, aka Dirty Bit, was released a month prior and is a banger.
I came up in here to rock, light a fire, make it hot. I don't wanna take no pictures, I just wanna take some shots.
Most critics weren't impressed by it, however. Other songs included were Don't Stop the Party, Light Up the Night,
It's on and poppin', and we ain't stopping. Let's light up the night.
and Just Can't Get Enough.
I wouldn't wanna have it any other way. I'm addicted and I just can't get enough.
The latter song is probably one of their best of all time, along with having a really notable music video. It was filmed in Tokyo only a week before the devastating Tohoku earthquake and tsunami in March 2011. The video was dedicated to those who lost their lives in the disaster. On February 6, 2011, the Black Eyed Peas would perform their biggest show of all time. Not just any show, but the Super Bowl halftime show. At the 45th Super Bowl, all 4 members, Apple Diap, Fergie, Taboo, and will.i.am, along with Usher and Slash of Guns N' Roses, gave it their all. But most weren't impressed, with many going on to say this is one of the worst Super Bowl halftime performances of all time. It was just seen as a pathetic attempt to bring in younger audiences and seem hip. But visually it was really cool, and Usher's part was praised for being somewhat decent. Definitely the weirdest moment was when Slash, along with Fergie, began singing Sweet Oh Child of Mine. Not just something you would expect Fergie to do, you know. It's hard to tell if this show really helped them or hurt them. I mean, on one hand it kind of ruined their reputation a bit, but on the other, it gave them attention overall despite performing there. The Peas once again went on tour for their album The Beginning. This would last throughout the year, but something really important was said during one of these concerts. On July 6, 2011, at a show in the Staffordshire Alton Towers, Will announced that the group would be taking an extended hiatus. It wasn't known for how long, but he would clarify later on Twitter that it wasn't the end of the Peas. They will all still be making music, just independently until this time sees fit. On November 23rd, they will perform their last show in Miami, featuring the grand opening acts of Queen Latifah and CeeLo Green. The Black Eyed Peas were now done for an unconfirmed amount of time. So what happened to each of the members during their hiatus? While on tour in 2011, Will began working on another solo venture. Initially it was to be titled Black Einstein. Great name, I know. But soon that would be changed to the more hip-sounding #Willpower. This album would go through production hell, initially set to release in late 2011, but getting pushed back time and time again. The intended first single was THE, aka The Hardest Ever. It was released in November 2011 with a music video to boot.
Hard like motherfucking liquid swords. Harder than worldwide stadium tours. I am the future, DeLorean doors.
It did alright on the charts and featured both Jennifer Lopez and Mick Jagger. #Willpower didn't release until April 19th, 2013, with one of the widest arrangements of guest stars ever. First was Britney Spears, who was on the album's best track, Scream and Shout. Honestly, a pretty decent song that would have felt right at home with the Peas.
And scream and shout and let it out. We saying oh, we are, we are, we are.
Other artists included were LMFAO, Chris Brown, Juicy J, Waka Flocka, Lil Wayne, Eva Simmons, Wiz Khalifa, Miley Cyrus, Skylar Grey, Justin Bieber, and Apple Diap. Allen himself would stick to music via charity work, releasing a single called We Can Be Anything on October 11, 2011. It was made to encourage children in the Philippines to stay in school. Many other singles would be released from Apple over the next few years, and appeared as one of the judges on The Voice of the Philippines. Will would appear on multiple judge roles himself, like on American Idol, The Voice Australia, and The Voice Kids UK. He would also join in on various STEM-based programs as a sponsor, along with involvement in tech ventures. At the 2011 First Robotics competition, he would even get his own LEGO minifigure, where only a small amount were given. I was actually going to buy one of these for the video, but no listings were up anywhere. Strange that one of the rarest LEGO minifigures is of my boy Will here dropping some sick rhymes. A smartwatch of his was released in July 2014, and the final thing to note was that he featured on the Script song Hall of Fame. I feel like mentioning that because, well, it's a good song.
To be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you go find yourself. Standing in the Hall of Fame.
Similar to Apple, Taboo spent the hiatus releasing various singles in preparation for a potential album, but during all of this, tragedy struck. Upon returning home from a gig in June 2014, he was in severe pain, so much so that he could barely move. With his wife taking him to the hospital, Taboo endured an MRI, CAT scans, and blood work. The next morning, he was told some life-changing news. He was diagnosed with stage 2 testicular cancer. He began chemotherapy not too long after, which was even more painful for him. He wanted to give up so badly, but couldn't for one main reason: his family. He had to stay strong for them, which he did. By 2016, he was healthy again, and was able to have a fourth child, his first daughter, who he and his wife called a miracle child. In November 2016, he would release a single called The Fight, where he raps about his struggles with the treatments. It was made in partnership with the American Cancer Society, with them receiving all the money from the track.
We feel awake, time is short, so celebrate. See the beauty of every day, live the moments that we create.
Fergie was also doing solo music work, this time for her second album. During this, she released the hit single LA Love on September 29th, 2014.
LA got the people saying,
It did well, but most people know the parody more: Rucka Rucka Ali's Ebola song.
He could have Ebola, so send him back. In fact, keep an eye on the black eyed peas. Mostly black and guy, don't worry about peas.
Fergie would be involved in various other endeavors, like releasing self-titled products. And on April 22nd, 2015, she performed with the rest of the Peas for a performance at Coachella. However, she was absent from the new BEP song made for the NBA playoffs that year, titled Awesome.
Don't be stalling, I be installing. I feel like Jordan taking flight, hey, I'm boarding.
Same with their 20th anniversary song, Yesterday. Many questioned if she was still with the Peas, which she was, but it seemed as if Fergie was slowly slipping away from them. On August 31st, 2016, a new music video was released by the Peas. It wasn't exactly new, being a remake of their 2003 hit Where's the Love. But this was special, released during a summer with much travesty like the Pulse shooting and insurgence of police brutality on African Americans. Not only were the original three boys present, but Fergie as well. The title mentioned how it featured the world, as many guests lended their voices to spread the message. Names like Jessie J, DJ Khaled, Jamie Foxx, Usher, Mary J. Blige, Justin Timberlake, and Jaden Smith. All money made from the song went to charity.
They don't want us to love. Love is powerful.
During the same summer, Fergie released another single off her upcoming album called MILF Money. Yes, you heard that correctly, MILF Money. But no, it does not mean Mom I'd like to fuck, but instead, Mothers I'd like to follow. How clever. The music video is honestly weirder than it has to be, with a bunch of celebrity moms showing off and Fergie playing a sexualized schoolteacher to a bunch of jacketed teens. Fergie's seemingly last performance of the Peas would be on June 3, 2017 at the 2017 UEFA Champions League final. Their show ran so long that it delayed the second kickoff by several minutes. While not officially announced at the time, Fergie left the Black Eyed Peas. Not forever, but just so that she can raise her son and be the best mother she can be, which probably involved pouring milk all over herself. Anyway, she finally released her second album on September 22, 2017, titled Double Duchess. It really didn't do too well for her, mainly sales-wise. Really the only notable songs from it were singles released years before, that being the previously mentioned MILF Money and LA Love. But what really tanked her career was a horrible performance she gave at the 2018 NBA All-Stars game. It was February 18, 2018, and Fergie was going to impress everybody. She was going to stick out and sing a unique version of the Star-Spangled Banner that nobody had ever heard before. And she did that, which did not come out great. In fact, it sucked and everybody ridiculed her for it. Even some of the players were shown laughing at her. Nobody could take her seriously at that point, and she really hasn't done much music-wise since. Do I think she deserves the hate? No. Fergie is still an amazing singer whose voice just doesn't really fit that of her national anthem. Since then, she has focused most of her time raising her young son, along with peddling some wine she put her name on. The rest of the Peas, Will, Apple, and Sabu, decided to work on a new album together, the first one since the beginning from 2010, but this time would have a new sound, one closer to their mid-1990s roots, something that can capture a new audience while pleasing their already hooked fans. It would serve as a sequel to their 2000 album Bridging the Gap. Production had already begun in 2014, but would finally wrap up in 2018. A new era for the Peas began on January 9, 2018 with the release of a new single titled Street Livin'. It was the official first song to not include Fergie with just the main Golden Trio.
Terrorists be blasting missiles, Crips and Bloods and retail thugs, CIA planes bring Colombian drugs.
Throughout the year, actually, many other singles would come out, all gearing up for the album Masters of the Sun Volume 1. The trio would expand though, as a semi-official member would join, that being Jessica Reynosa, who was the finalist of Season 1 of The Voice of the Philippines, in which Apple Diab hosted. Her first appearance was on the song Ringing the Alarm Parts 1, 2, and 3. No clue why it was titled like that, but it would feature an old friend of the Peas as a producer, DJ Motivate.
I'll be like, fuck your fucking laboratory, I am not a rat, I am light, I am God, body wise is the fact, wake up!
Wake up, sound the alarm.
A bit of controversy occurred due to the song Constant, which allegedly illegally sampled Lone's track Airglow Fires. Not much info is known about the aftermath. Masters of the Sun would be officially released on October 26, 2018, with good reception but low sales. But that didn't really matter to them anymore. They just wanted to make some quality music together and have fun, sort of like the old school days of their band, which this does a great job at replicating. It features more political messaging and hopes for change with a more soul and jazz-like vibe. And that's really refreshing, especially compared to other recent music. Tracks on it include Dopeness, Back to Hip Hop, Wings,
This love is like a dream. You are the wind under my wings.
Big Love, and my personal favorite, New Wave. It's such an underrated song that deserves more attention.
New wave, new wave.
What is it?
It's the new flavor. I put in the work, do the hard labor.
The album's name was based on a comic released the year before, with the same name. And guess what? It was released by Marvel Comics and even featured Stan Lee in the audio version. Other famous artists joined in on that, like Flava Flav, Snoop Dogg, and Queen Latifah. From what I understand, it mainly revolves around 80s hip-hop culture and a zombie apocalypse. A month before the album, on September 29th, the Black Eyed Peas performed with Jimmy Barnes at the 2018 AFL Grand Final, but this drew criticism as Will pulled out his phone halfway through for some reason. Both him and Taboo would, of course, apologize on Twitter. A tour for Masters of the Sun would occur going well into 2019, with a new single being released the next summer. That was Be Nice, released on June 4, 2019. It featured the legend himself, Snoop Dogg.
One step so deaf, so right, go left, and do it to him right away.
After that, a new album would be worked on, with a different style to change things up. And to start was another single made to promote the film, Bad Boys for Life. On October 11, 2019, with their new label Epic Records, BEP released Ritmo, which today is one of their most successful songs. In fact, it was their first top 100 hit since 2011, and the music video has almost 1 billion views. But where Ritmo took off was in Latin America. Not only would it stay at number 1 on the charts, but many new fans came from it. I mean, now a majority of their music video comments are in Spanish. I mean, they already had like a big market overseas, but this is where it just got crazy. The new change in style for the upcoming 2020 album definitely focused on this market, which will lead it to have more commercial success than its predecessor. Production would wrap up on the album during the start of COVID-19, delaying some of the music videos, but still, one was released for the song Mamacita. Translation was released on June 19th, 2020, to decent reception. Some like myself loved it, while others were more mixed on the Peas doing a more Latin pop style. Many of the songs included samples like Vida Loca, including Super Freak by Rick James.
It's my life, bitch. It's my life, bitch.
Other songs included on the album include No Manana,
It's no Maniana.
Feel the Beat,
Baby got a halo, and I can never say no, cause she got a booty like J-Lo. Girl, you got a halo.
Duro Harder, and Celebrate.
Everybody, we don't got no time for waiting. Let's go celebrate, celebrate.
Vida Loca and I Got a Feeling were performed by the Black Eyed Peas on August 30th at the 2020 MTV Music Awards. That part received negative attention, mainly due to, I shit you not, having a glowing crotch plate. Why? Who on their team thought that was a good idea? Also, fans are pissed off that Fergie wasn't with them, but to be honest, you're not really a fan of them if you didn't know she left and can't accept change. They also were at the 2019 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Anyways, I felt like individually mentioning a few other songs from Translation. First is Girl Like Me, which features Shakira. Her and Will actually have been working on this song since 2008, and failed to include it in his 2013 solo album. He began finalizing it in January 2020 to its release. The music video, released on December 4, 2020, went viral on TikTok as many of the wannabe dancers tried to copy Shakira's dance moves.
So they tell me that you're looking for a girl like me.
The next song I'll mention is Action. Not only is it a great party song and all, but the music video was creative. It showed the trio deepfaked into various Bollywood movies, but since this involves India, they got the video taken down for copyright. Typical rich greedy company.
It's time for some action. Give me satisfaction. It's time for some action.
Finally is one of the best BEP songs ever, News Today. It was made right at the start of COVID-19, and is more calm and laid back. It's kind of depressing yet hopeful. It's also the best political messaging the group has ever used for their music.
Risking new encounters, they in the front line, dying for the minimum wage.
The group would also go on various tours after this, like the one they are currently on in Europe. 2 other singles have been released since then, the first being Hit It in August 2021, that for some reason features Lele Pons as the female singer, along with Saweetie. Lele actually does a decent job in it. I mainly just don't like her because she's unfunny and kind of a bitch.
Do it like the night won't end.
Baby, let's go one more time. Ay, replay and rewind.
The other was released just last month called Don't You Worry. This one gives me strong early 2010s vibes, my favorite kind. and Shakira came back for it along with David Guetta. It's currently unknown if this is part of a new album for late 2022 or 2023, but it's possible.
Look, mama, I can fly.
I feel so alive. I live my best life. Do just what I like.
So now there's no record stores and there's no measuring system on what success is. Success should be wherever you go on the planet, they're playing your song in some club or some restaurant or some basketball game.
As said before, the Black Eyed Peas are fascinating to me. No other musical artist has ever had a history as complicated and rich as this. I mean, they started out as a 90s hip-hop artist fully dedicated to their music while being critically praised. The sales weren't as high, but that was fine. Once adopting Fergie, they did change its style a bit to fit the more pop sound, but despite this, they always kept their rap roots. I never fully got why people call the Peas massive sellouts. I guess because they changed genre or something on each album to further appeal to the mainstream, as if every other artist doesn't do the same thing. The best example I can think of for this is Taylor Swift. First of all, let me mention that I really don't like her. Her music's okay, I just don't like her as a person. She made a huge genre switch in the early 2010s from a more country sound to full-on pop. She was still successful in the country genre, but becoming a pop singer was what really turned Taylor into a megastar. With the Peas, they have mostly always just done rap, just slightly different, based on kind of the times. They stick to their roots and even made an album similar to Feel in their late 90s sound. Taylor, on the other hand, just does it to appeal to a wider and wider audience. I mean, she literally made a shitty album where she tries to appear all dark and badass and stuff.
Right, kinda cringe.
Even with their more pop-based songs like I Got a Feeling, it's just fun stuff. Like, yeah, this music doesn't have a lot of thought put behind it, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be Beethoven's Fifth. Now the Peas have the success to make whatever music they want, without having to worry about money or the studio meddling. And yes, they aren't the best at performing live, as seen multiple times in this video, but they still make some damn catchy music. I feel like ending this video off a bit differently. Let's quickly discuss the 10 best Black Eyed Peas songs. These are a mix of fan favorites and personal favorites of mine. Number 10 is Pump It from Monkey Business. While it might not be perfect, it's damn catchy and just a plain fun song. The 60s surfer vibes it brings are really unique to it, and the flow from each member elevates it a lot. Number 9 is Joints and Jams from Behind the Front. This was the song that really made their career, and for a good reason. The song is a bop with an incredible chorus.
Play it again, let your body collide to the rhythm provided by the mind state affairs, classified to make your heat up and flare, I swear.
Number 8 is Hey Mama from Elephunk. Just a catchy ass chorus and some amazing rapping by will.i.am. As always, Fergie's part of the song, while also great, was kind of short though. Number 7 is Action from Translation. This song really gets you pumped up as if you're in an actual action movie. Apple D really stands out in this, and I love the references to Masters of the Sun comic in here.
Yeah, while drinking spastic action flick, stuntman fantastic, Black Eyed Peas, Marvel did a classic, Zombie Chronicles hip hop classic, yeah.
Number 6 is Meet Me Halfway from the E.N.D. I like how this combines Fergie's more mellow and emotional chorus with the rapping style used in their late 2000s albums. It feels more unique here, and the music video is one of their best ever done.
Let's cross the bridge to the other side. Just you and I. Just you and I.
Number 5 is Just Can't Get Enough from the Beginning. Similar to the previous entry, it has a great emotional part by Fergie with more calm and smooth rapping by the other 3 Ps. It's less of a party song and more of a thought-provoking one.
Baby, I can't come down, so please come help me out. You got me feeling high and I can't step off the cloud.
Number 4 is New Wave from Masters of the Sun Volume 1. This one has a stunning jazzy beat and smooth rhymes, and about following a new wave of music. The best part is definitely when Taboo makes fun of the mumble rappers of SoundCloud.
What the fuck they be rhyming about these days? They be mumbling like, what the fuck did he say? So please speak clear and enunciate. Don't be all up in...
Number 3 is I Got a Feeling from the E.N.D. Despite being their most popish song, I still adore it. Not only does it contain my favorite drug, nostalgia, but a vibe bringer. Like, this thing just force feeds you good vibes every time you listen to it.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night.
Number 2 is Where's the Love from Elephunk. This for a long time was their signature song with a worldwide message about being kinder to one another. While that trope is used lots of other times in other songs, the fact that this one is still needed is important, and the 2016 remake is just as good, if not better. And at number 1 is News Today by Translation. Not only is this their flat out most underrated song, but it's the most powerful, trying to emotionally come together during a time where you couldn't physically come together. All 3 OG EPs really give it their all here to make one of the best songs I've ever heard.
The news today, they say the world is won, cause we're all fighting the war, but nobody pick up a gun.